airport. That's where we're going, in this direction. Yes, so you don't have to come back here. I show you the meeting point with the others in the afternoon. But that's he painted blue cloud on it, hanging on helicopter. Another one was also painted blue, but there was a wave on it, and it was traveling on the Rhine. And another one was painted gold, and you get some rays flying. And so they buy it back from the show. They had no one. Then they make it as a big world city, somewhere that everybody can see. That was in 1991. Nobody knows how it was going, but one day later it was standing up over there. I don't know if it's like there was another. This house is from the 16th century, and it was normally where they put the arms in the 16th century, and in the last years it was the museum for the history of Cologne, but actually there's water going into the building, so they close it. But the other thing is, on this side, here where the white building is, there's working a special person. For that you have to understand, we have the city of Cologne, there we have a mayor. But there's also a department Cologne. And the department of Cologne has a president of the department of Cologne. He's working here. And he was not really a Cologne person, he was more Prussian, very correct looking. And he came to his office and then he thought, what is this? Who parked his car on top of the house? And then he looks in all the books. Is there a law what is allowed to park your car on top of a house? And he didn't find it. Then he said to the city, to the mayor, you have to remove it. It's not allowed. That was in 1991. We have had 17 days until we have to remove it. And you see the solution. It's still there, but they want to remove it. They have to repair it, something like that. So I never know if I really can show it, but it's still there. This is how it's going on. So also that we have the Ford company here. It comes here in the 60s. That lived a little bit with the city. After the Second World War, we made work at it. So we have contracted with the state. Guest workers are coming and we're only for 2 years first, and they go back. Now the most love to stay in Cologne. And they are still in Köln until today. So sometimes you see a Turkish-looking person, and he's talking Kölsch with you, yes, our language. Also, one thing after Cologne is one of the most lost cities after the Second World War. 98% of everything what you see today, 98% is completely destroyed. I show you pictures later too. And there was one good thing. Yes, we all remain, war is not good. But there was one good thing by that, because it opens the ground and we found back a lot of our history. And so we found back a lot of Romans paintings in and so they put it together here, and here they build a Roman fountain. Yeah? And you have the column over there, there is the wolf, it's Romulus and Remus, yeah? So it's the Roman fountain with things what in medieval times, the church people always say was made and earth in the flat. Everybody believed. Probably you heard about that. That's somebody. Today I think, and that's my private opinion, chance to get a place on cloud number 7. And so this was the reason why a lot of people would start walking from bone to bone. Yeah, from the pilgrims. And you can imagine that everybody was happy when they got related to the city, because there were a lot of pilgrims coming, and the pilgrims were nothing else like you today, the tourists. But in the 11th century, our archbishop was not only the mayor in the city, and archbishop, but there the story starts with the cathedral, because they told us that there our archbishop, Reinhold von Dassel, he had stolen some bones. And he was told that these were the bones of these 3 men you see over there, of Caspar, Melchior, and Balthasar, yeah, the 3 wise men. And he brought them back to Cologne. And so, this cathedral wasn't standing there. It was a smaller church. I show you pictures, always on my church. There was standing a smaller church like that, a Romanist church, with big walls, less windows, dark Middle Ages. And they quickly built a shrine to put the bones inside, with a lot of gold, silver, diamonds, and everything. One of the most honorable artifacts of medieval time. And they put it inside here, and then the story started that a lot of people were coming to see and to touch the bones. And after 100 years, this church was getting too small. And And so that's why they decided in the middle of the 13th century to build a big church. These towers grabbing the skies. The inside should look like the Holy Jerusalem. It should be the highest, the most beautiful building on the world. These were the plans of the 13th century. And today you see the results. But I told you the story too. But there is a little magazine I also want to show you. I'm jumping back a little bit to the Carnival story. The whole city, they have costumes. The big ones, they have special costumes with special hats, you see. Everybody in this party wear a hat. And the main important thing you have to know about Carnival, during the Carnival time, we are ruled by the Triforium, just a little bit in the symbol of the three wise men. And you see them here on the picture, the Triforium. In the middle, you see the Prince of Carnival. And you see the, on the right-hand side, always the farmer, because we were more farmers than citizens at that time. On the left-hand side, you see somebody looking like a woman, but it's always played by a man, and he is the Virgin. Yeah, he's the Virgin. And that means, so, the city of Cologne was always a virgin city until the 15th century. We were never taken by an enemy. Yeah, always virgin city. So when you see the costumes, yeah, are from gold, silver, yes, and every year they have to make it new for the new Triforium, yes. And one of these costumes costs around about 5,000 euros. And they need, during the whole season, they need 3 of these costumes, everybody. So you have 45,000 only for the costumes. Yeah? And because of the city of Cologne, yes, 6 days from 6 days for Ash Wednesday, we start with the street carnival. These are too short for us. We need more time for party. Yeah? That's why we open the carnival season in 3 days on the 11th of November. And we have 2.5 months of party. And during the whole season, we are ruled by the Triforium. So next week we will have a big party outside. And you can be lucky to stay here today because it's always also, guess when they come how crazy we are on that day. Plans were that what you see today, it's finished after his plans. And he started exactly on the 15th August, 1248. This is a very important date for us. You don't have to remember the 15th August, that's the day when I married a few years later. But 1248 is easy to learn. You only have to count 1 and 1 is 2, 2 and 2 is 4, 4 and 8, 1248. That's when they start with the cathedral. They're going very quickly. After 70 years, the chorus in the back was ready so that they could really hold on masses in the 13th century, or beginning of the 14th century. And they need every day 800 people working on the church. Why isn't it going?
There it is.
Almost very great. They promise the people, you are working, you will have 1 year less in health. That's what they promised. And the people believed it. And so we have had 800 people working every day. First of all, here you see that there are 3 spires. There's a small one in the middle. And on top of the small one, there's the golden star of Bethlehem.
Okay.
But at least, you also heard the story. You throw out the archbishop at the end of the 13th century. And then it goes on slowly because the church was not so... goes on slowlier. And at least, at the beginning of the 60s, one spire was started, the south spire. See how it looks like in the middle of the 16th century. So this spire is the south spire. When you stay in front, the right one, that was rising up 50 meters to the second window. This first, another one wasn't started. On top of this, there was standing the crown, which symbolized it is not ready now. We will go on later. Maybe we can use it, so we let it stand. And the roof was completely missed. Only the chorus in the back was ready. And we didn't stop. So what it is also a rest of the Roman wall. Yeah, we have a lot of rest from the Roman side. The Romans lived a little bit deeper than we live today. Yeah. So from here, this is the area where the Romans were living. So this wall in the bottom goes around always 1 kilometer in each direction. So we are now here in the Roman area. And we stopped it, we didn't stop it not only for one stop. The 300 years, this picture I showed you, yeah, I just showed it again, was the typical postcard motif of Cologne for 300 years. Then we are now jumping in the 19th century, after 300 years. It was still standing like that, but then the times changed. This is how the Roman wall was. Yeah, we are standing here at this point. You see that church here? That's a Romanist church, St. Andrew, yeah, and cathedral, and this was the Roman area. Here you see also the name I told you, Colonia Claudia Ara Agrippinensis. So the short form was CCAA. That's what you can see, and you can walk around this wall. You will see some rests, not a lot, but for example, on this point, there is really a Roman tower, you can see, and sometimes a little rest, not everything. And during the Roman time, I also show you that in a few seconds. So this belonged to the Romans. Why? That's the map I have here. So there has, how it looks like, there has been a Rhine River arm. So the Romans lived here around. This was an island where the Romans put all their things, their orgive arena, and they put things in houses to them, yeah, not to have them in their own houses. But this Rhine River arm was sent in 800 after Christian. And so there were two places coming up, the older market and the grain market. And now, here you see the grain market, now it belongs to the city since 800 after Christian. That's why you see it in that way here, but this was by the Roman time. And here you see two important things. When we were building up, we built also a praetorium. The praetorium is a town hall palace in the Roman time, where the praetor, the mayor, was living. And another important thing is this line here. This has been an aqueduct. So, for 40 kilometers going down in the south, in the Eifel, that's an area with a lot of forests and a lot of volcanoes as well. So, we got fresh water 2,000 years ago. We have had fresh water in the city. Absolutely important, because after a while they found out that the Cologne people lived a little bit longer than the others and were much healthier than the others. Of course, we were drinking fresh water 2,000 years ago. Very important. We found the rest of the freshwater line. That's what you can see, but you have to go outside of the city. So it's yeah. So now, jumping in the 19th century now, and at the beginning of the 19th century, 1815, there has been political decision of the Vienna contract, and that meant that the Prussian got the Rhineland. So the Prussian were here the first man on the stage. And the Prussian, they are these typical people in Germany who love to have everything correctable, bureaucratical, and so on. And when they came here and they saw that the cathedral was not finished, they said, "How do you working? What are you doing?" Yeah. And we said, "We have had elves and they're on holiday." That's what they told them. And so the Prussian decide if they have to pull it down, to write it down, or if they have to finish a Catholic church. The Prussians are not, and they couldn't find a solution to decide that. And for that, they engaged the biggest influencer of the 19th century without Instagram, and his name was Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Goethe is a very well-known literature man at that time. He should travel around whole Germany, and he should decide what building they have to finish and what they have to destroy. They really discussed to destroy the cathedral. And when Goethe came along here and he saw the first time the construction of the Cologne Cathedral, he said, "Oh my God, this is so fantastic. We have had to finish that church." And by this point of all my tourists in 35 years, I always say, "Thank you, Mr. Goethe," because if he didn't say that, I wouldn't have a job today. So it was the not Catholic Prussian who gave the money for a Catholic church in Cologne. And the Bavarian, these are the people with the lederhosen and don't look like the big stein. Yeah? They were totally Catholic. They were a little bit jealous, but they say, "Okay, come on, also get money from us." And so we start again in 1842. So when you remember the first day, 1248, 1842, same numbers mixed around to come to the point. So that's when they start again. And after 38 years, we're on the world map. Okay, so we are right by the Cologne Tourist Center. I just want to jump in only for a minute to get your maps and a very interesting little tourism book where you can find it. Wait, you can go around over there. There will be the guy.
Okay.
There, I just need to take the